this part. Okay. Hey, everybody. Yeah, we are back. Yeah, sorry about that. Just now the network connection is really bad for now. Yeah, that's why we do need the next generation of internet, right? So that's why we do have ChainSafe here to work together with us all together. Okay, fine. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, as you know, as a first Web3 community, we do invite so many guys to be here. We do have friends from the Web3 Foundation, from Mona team, from Polkadot, and so many people to come here. And today we do have ChainSafe. Yeah, we do call it the first open day. I think why not we just call it like ChainSafe Day for today. Yeah. So a lot of Chinese people and here with the people in the all of the world in our community, you guys can learn more about ChainSafe. I think that's a really great chance to learn more about the amazing work that you guys have done. Okay, 非常抱歉啊，大家，刚才的话就是因为我们的网络有点问题，导致我们的这样一个连接出现了一些小错误。It's okay， 那我们正是这样的原因，所以我们呢也是需要下一代互联网，对不对？所以今天的话呢，我们也是非常荣幸邀请到了 ChainSafe 团队和我们一起做客直播间，了解一下他们在做的事情。那今天的话呢，我们有邀请到 ChainSafe 团队的Colin， 还有 Redwan， 还有 Matthias， 对，他们会给我们讲述关于他们在做的一些比较有意思的事情，以及类似关于ChainSafe Files， 对不对？了解 IPFS 生态的朋友应该对这一块非常了解。那另外的话呢，还有ChainSafe 和Substrate 这边呢做了一个桥梁，对，能够把 Falcon 和 Substrate 这边进行一个桥接。那呢，今天的话呢，我们也会有在刚开始的话会有一个 Redwan 这边会给我们进行一个分享。后面的话，Yeah, I think now it's back to normal, right? For now.
Okay.
Is that okay right now? I think it's kind of like to normal right now from my side.
Yeah, I think maybe Tim, like, keep your video off, so maybe we're sure we're gonna save some bandwidth or something like that. It could help.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will turn off my video off first. Yeah. Okay. I think maybe you guys can do the presentation first. Maybe later, I think I will check about network and back to that. Okay. Is that okay for you guys? Okay.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Can see your screen now. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay.
Cool.
Let me tell our audience here in Chinese about this, and I will let you know if you are okay to get it started. Okay. 那非常抱歉的各位，那我们的网络刚刚有点问题。那接下来的话，我们不如就直接进入正题。那我们这边的 Redwan 和 Matthias 这边的话，会进行一个分享。Okay. Redwan, yeah, you guys can do the presentation right now. Thanks for that.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for having us. So my name is Redwan Meslem. I'm a project manager at ChainSafe, based in New York, currently in Europe. And today with Matthias, tech lead and Rust tech lead at ChainSafe, we're going to present you a project we've been working on for the last 3 months. It's a project from the Falcon Foundation, where we've been bridging Filecoin with Polkadot. So, quick overview about ChainSafe. We are a blockchain infrastructure company. Since 2017, we've been really working towards Web3 and decentralization. We are blockchain agnostic. We're a completely remote company with more than 22 people all around the world. And we've been involved in the space in some major infrastructure project as ETH2. We have a Rust implementation of Filecoin called Forest. We work also on a Go implementation of Polkadot. And we are very focusing on open source and bringing blockchain in more interoperability system. So this led us to be contacted and selected by Falcon Foundation to, I would say, bring and build the first steps of a bridge and interoperability between Polkadot and Filecoin. Before diving a little bit too deeper into into this, I guess because here we have an audience more specialized in IPFS. I'll give you a quick overview of Polkadot and what are like the specificities. So Polkadot presents itself as a meta protocol. I think the best way to look is that's a really layer 0 blockchain, where the architecture of that blockchain is going to be made with a very shared security and a relay chain at the center. And then you will be able to build some very specific blockchain called parachain on top of this. If you followed a little bit the ecosystem, the first parachain auction was actually went live on the 18th of December with Akala. There is some other one like being deployed every day. So this to say, Polkadot has been developing, I think, around about 2017. So it's a almost like 4 years of very hard work to deploy this. And right now we're becoming to have like the first production product being deployed. How to look at the Polkadot. Polkadot is going to have like a relay chain that's going to have like a shared security, an on-chain governance, and also, of course, like the DOT that you probably heard in terms of token. And on top of that, you'll be able to build some very specific, almost blockchain that's going to have their own, I would say, rules, and allows you to be very modular in the way you want to build your blockchain. And those parachain are going to be able to communicate with different, with a message system called XCM. And now, the last aspect I want to mention is that substrate development framework, because this is where we're going to focus here in our Filecoin and Substrate Bridge. Substrate, think about it as a form of class. And just checking everything is good. Okay, think about like Substrate as a library of different functions that you can then use to build your custom blockchain. So here we have the example of Noodle.io that's going to take a consensus protocol, different type of vesting options, different way to manage, like for instance, membership for like having rewards and etc. And they can build their own blockchain with all those rules using Substrate. What it means is like once you have developed a palette, this palette can be accessible to anyone willing to develop anything on a Substrate and on Polkadot. And here, what we're going to show you is actually that Falcon dot. It's the name of our repo that we've been developed for the last 3 months. So this palette, ChainSafe, because we also worked with Forest, which is a Rust implementation. We also been doing a lot of work, and Matthias is an expert here on Substrate, also developing in Rust for like different index and also product. The Foundation called us and selected us to develop that bridge. And so now, if we take a little bit deeper, like what is that Substrate Falcon bridge? So what I want to really stress is this is a first step towards interoperability between Falcon and Polkadot. And in that first step here, the 4 main goals are going to be having a managed relayer sets. So we're going to have like different relayers that work in a federation model, be able to communicate with Falcon only in a read manner. So we can like capture events in the Falcon and then relay those within Substrate environment. This is done by a voting mechanism, and we'll be able to validate message and state verification. And we may be able to go into details, but this is specifically for like DL proof, and also a worker that able like to collect the block from Falcon. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna give now the hand to Matthias. That's gonna show you a little bit how it looks like. So he's gonna start the Polkadot.js UI and connect to the palette and show you a little bit like what it looks like under the hood. Matthias, I give you the hand right now, okay?
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, you should see my screen right now.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Polkadot JS or Polkadot apps UI, it's hosted on polkadot.js.org. And it's basically the main gateway into the Polkadot ecosystem. On the left-hand side, you can see all the Polkadot and their parachains. So you can connect to Polkadot, and you can see that there are a bunch of parachains that are already live, and you can connect with one click. And there's also a Gossamer section with a bunch of parachains, and there is also the development mode, which I'm currently in right now. So I'm currently connected to a test chain which implements that aforementioned Filecoin palette. And if you first connect to the UI, you can head over to accounts. And by default, there are a bunch of developer accounts like Alice, Bob, and Charlie, which are usually pre-funded. And then there is the Explorer section where you can see that blocks are mined. In developer mode, these are also proof of authority. And if you would transact something, then it would show up as an event. But the main, the most valuable thing on the Polkadot UI is the extrinsic section. And the extrinsic sections is basically an overview of all installed pallets on the running node. So you can see there are a bunch of pallets installed, and there is also the Falcon palette that Redwan mentioned. And this UI gathers all the pallets and their transactions or calls that a user can execute. So there are a bunch of transaction to manage the relayer set, like adding a new relayer, removing a new relayer, setting the vote threshold, which is a threshold at which we treat a block as verified. Then we can submit block votes for new Filecoin block headers, and we can also verify a proof. Yeah, and usually if you select a new extrinsic, then you can see that on the next level are the arguments. So you can select the account you want to remove as relayer or add as relayer set. And also if you select another extrinsic which accepts something else, then it will auto-populate with the type. And this is for handling transactions. Then there's another view for viewing the chain state. And this works similarly. You have a list of the installed pallets. And in the next column, you have a list of storage slots. So if we manage relayers, for example, we need a storage slot for storing all the accounts. And this is here called the relayers. And this is basically a list of account IDs. And we can execute a storage query right now to get a list of all the accounts that we are currently registered as relayers. We can also query the the vote threshold I just mentioned, which is currently set as 1. Then we can also query the relay account. Yeah, and these are basically normal RPC queries to read some parts of the pallet storage and retrieve them. Since we have Q&A, I guess we can move over to Q&A, and I can perhaps answer a couple more things in detail, if that's okay.
Thank you very much, Matthias.
Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, so everything goes on okay. You guys can hear me right now, right?
Yes.
Mr. Good.
Perfect. It's that. Yeah, finally, that's okay right now. Okay, let me move to the Q&A session. Yeah, we can check about this. Okay, yeah, the very first question, it's pretty interesting. Actually, you guys covered a bit about this. Could you just tell us a bit more about that? Why choose to bridge between like Falcon and Substrate? Could you just tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
I can take this, Matthias, if you want. So I think we have to see like ChainSafe and Filecoin. And ChainSafe since the beginning a strong desire to contribute to open source and interoperability mechanism within the blockchain space. So for us, everything related to connecting different ecosystems, allowing different blockchain to communicate, it's something we want to work towards. So this is for ChainSafe. Then if we go for Falcon, it's really also for them like the first step of like a long interest of willing to increase network use case, allowing Falcon to be part of the blockchain tech stack of various services. And those services is also Polkadot and all the ecosystem. So I think we really need to look at FSB and Falcon.dot as a first step towards more interoperability between Falcon and Polkadot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So, Matthias, do you want to add a bit more about that? Okay. Or I try to.
Anything in particular about Substrate or?
Yeah, like you guys choose to these two to have a bridge like Falcon and Substrate. So it means mostly it is about from the Falcon's data and Polkadot's ecosystem to combine together, right? To have a bridge.
Yeah. Basically, the first step into bridging out from the Falcon ecosystem to Polkadot, and also perhaps eventually the other way around. Perhaps you can eventually, if we move forward with additional tooling, that you can interact with the Filecoin directly from Polkadot, and not necessarily only verify stuff, but actually interact. So this is right now our first step into moving both ecosystems more closely together, and then see what's technically possible moving forward.
Okay, great. Yeah, okay. Let me try to explain this to our audience here. Yeah, 刚刚 Redwan 和 Matthias 这边其实有提到关于就是为什么针对这个问题啊，我们的问题是为什么选择在 Falcon 和 Substrate 也就是波卡之间做这样一个桥接。那其实首先的话呢，其实有的话它是围绕就是打通不同链之间这种隔阂，对不对？然后大家都知道他们一直在做非常多有价值的事情。在刚才的话可能也没有提到这样一个部分啊，其实他们在围绕以太坊，包括波卡，包括其他不同的链都有在做各种各样的一些事情，然后包括以太坊上面的一些虚拟机这一块，对这一块都是有不同的研究的。那针对 Falcon 和 Substrate 这边的话呢，其实可以更好的把 Substrate 这边的一些生态的系统能够和 Falcon 这边的做更好的一个连接，能够发挥彼此双方的这样一个能量吧，我觉得其实对， 对我个人而言的话，我其实觉得 Falcon 本身这边目前有非常多的一些数据的一些存储，然后呢，包卡这边的话呢，有非常好的一些生态，然后有非常棒的一些应用，都可以通过这样一个 ChainSafe 这样一个连接的话呢，能够做到一些数据的融会贯通。这样的话呢，对于整个的这样一个 Web3的生态来讲，我觉得都是非常非常有帮助的。呀，反正这一点的话呢，这也是 ChainSafe 团队的一个强项，对不对？他们不光是在做ChainSafe Falcon 和 Substrate， 他们也有围绕我们可能在下一个环节的时候会提到关于他们在做一个叫 ChainSafe Files 的这样一个东西，对，大家可以更多的去了解他们。Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, that's very awesome. Yeah, because that is I think that maybe that's a thing that only you guys can do, right? Yeah, because this is really hard for people to to work on with the bridging between Falcon and the substrate. Yeah, this is a hard work, but JSON team, you guys are really professional to be here. Okay, great. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. Okay. So this is mostly about the objectives about ChainSafe's team. Yeah, so you guys come out with the idea like with a multi-chain perspective, and how do you see this for empower the blockchain industry as a whole? Yeah. Could you guys try to explain a bit more about this?
So your question is how we see this project contributing to the blockchain ecosystem as a whole?
Yep. Yeah, you guys have ChainBridge. You guys are working with multi-chain bridging. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
So by having this, and actually it's already like some exploration that we're doing, the more we develop different technological piping and bridge between blockchain, the more we allow more peer-to-peer software being developed. We're doing this by having also our REST implementation of Falcon, and currently the team that worked on FSB is also working with like the Forest team to identify technological overlap and where we can maybe contribute and push forward solution. We also working with Falcon to imagine and see where we move towards after that project to continue expanding the functionality of the palette, maybe in a phase 2, where we will look at more like a zero knowledge proof, or move out of a federation and proof of authority, then where we could have like the possibility to submit data within Filecoin. So that would be the next direction we would look towards. Right now it's very early, but this is discussion we are having as we're talking.
Okay, great. Yeah, great. Yeah. Did you guys know that actually RPFS Force, we do also focus with one of the key implementation that is called Venus, but for you guys, you do have the ChainSafe Forest, right? So we are also working together to make more implementations for the Falcon whole network. Yeah, but as you guys just talking now, like have a multi-chain perspective to work together with Falcon and the Substrate, that would be really great for both projects, right? Yeah. Otherwise, they have to be like pretty alone, or some like single arm, just one single chain. That is not that good for the different kind of developers to focus on those kind of chains. Yeah. So I think that's why that you guys have this kind of perspective, right? Okay. Cool. Yeah. Matthias, do you want to add something for this question? Yeah.
About the roadmap or anything in particular?
Yeah, actually, it's all about about ChainSafe teams like objective in how the whole blockchain. Like you guys want to connect.
So okay, understood. Yeah, we could. We used various insights we gained by developing ChainBridge. So in ChainBridge, which was initially designed to bridge from Ethereum to substrate-based chain as well. And we already had some kind of bridging palette, which we then revised for the Filecoin dot palette with additional improvements. And what we learned by developing Filecoin dot, we then eventually will reuse in the next iteration of ChainBridge.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Can you guys see my screen now? Is that
I think Redwan is still sharing, so.
Redwan is still sharing, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, actually, we do have two questions listed here. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. Let me try to explain to our audience here. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. 其实刚刚ChainSafe团队这边问到的就是关于为什么他们有这样一个多链的视角，是吧？他们是如何看待这样一个多链视角，能够为整个区块链行业进行赋能的？其实对他们来讲的话，他们一直坚信，就是任何一条单独的链在整个区块链里面所做的事情，其实还是比较有限的，对吧？然后另外，不同的链的话，可能背后还要有牵扯不同的这个生态开发者，每个生态开发者可能面向不同链的话，也有非常多的一些学习的成本。那如何能够把这些不同孤立的链能够连接起来，对吧？使用 ChainSafe 的一些在做的一些类似 ChainBridge 或者是 FSB 这样的东西，可以能够把不同链能够桥接起来，能够帮助更好的去发挥不同链的这样一个性能。对，这是他们会比较看重这样一个点。当然，他们本身团队的话也是规模也是非常庞大，他们针对不同的链都有自己的这样一个研究团队，还有技术团队，都在针对不同的事情在做这样的一些开发以及桥接的这样工作。我觉得只要有类似有 ChainSafe 这样的团队的话，可以帮助我们更好的加速整个区块链行业的一些发展嘛。我其实觉得并不是要一定每一条链都是完全孤立的存在的，对不对？就算可能有不同的链在负责不同的功能选项，确实是需要这样一个部分，但是呢，我们需要 ChainSafe 这样的团队帮我们去进行不同链的这样一个桥接。对 ，OK， yeah, great, yeah. Let's move on to the next question. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's okay. Yeah, could you guys tell us what is planned for the technical implementation of the Bridge in 2022, or like you guys have any kind of plan with FSB or with the other ChainBridge projects? Yeah, could you guys just tell us just a bit more about that? Yeah, thank you.
Oh, sure. I think the first thing is part of the project that we have with Falcon Foundation is to actually build the UI. So we're going to have a user interface, which we're going to use to feature as much as we can of the palette. And also we are currently having conversation and studying with Falcon Foundation and with also our technical team, ChainSafe, to see what could be the next steps of development around that bridge. Especially something I mentioned before, maybe moving towards, be able to submit message to the Falcon chain from Polkadot, and continuing, I would say, developing, the piping, because I guess like plumber, we are like building pipe between different ecosystem, and those are like pretty complex technology, and it takes time, and we do like one step at a time. This is the first one, and we are studying like what could be the next, submitting proof, imagining being completely within Polkadot and interacting, having a full, bidirectional bridge with Falcon.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, let me try to explain what Redwan said just now. Okay, 那其实刚刚Redwan 这边提到的话他们目前的话，针对整个的 FSB 这边 UI 界面的话，做相关的一些操作。另外的话呢，他们也在和Falcon基金会团队，对吧，在进行紧密的接触可能不只是说把整个的这样一个Falcon 的部分能够和Substrate 这边的话能够更好桥接，能够实现不同链的关于一些消息验证包括一些更多的一些交互的层面，可能会做 更多的这样一些进展。对，当然更多的一些部分的话呢，可能也是双方几方比较磨合的这样一个过程啊。比如说ChainSafe 团队会和Falcon Foundation 以及 Substrate 团队这边会进行更多的一些交互，可能在这边的话，在新的一年能够给我们带来更多的一些新的实现和进展。Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, Matthias, do you want to add a bit more about this? Yeah, thanks.
Yes, Redwan mentioned that this was only phase 1, and next thing we would like to explore is basically the other way around, for interacting from Polkadot to Filecoin, which would be pretty valuable, I guess. So this will be what we're focusing on in the near future, I think.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. Yeah, 那跟边这边Matthias 这边的话也是提到类似和 Redwan 这边同样的一些观点嘛，对，更多的一些通过 ChainSafe 这边的一些协作的话呢，跨链桥能够更多的促进Falcon 以及和波卡这边的一些桥接的部分，也能见证不同生态的这些更好的一些相融，对，也能更好的一些促进不同生态的一些发展。OK， 那 OK。可以啊，那就是刚刚的这个部分的话，就是关于我们的这样一个 Q&A 的环节。对，那前面的话，可能大家对于整个 ChainSafe 的部分可能有不太清楚的部分，后面的话，我会在下一个环节开始之前，会更加多去讲一点关于这个团队在做的一些事情，让大家更好的去了解他们。那刚才其实在做这样一个演示的环节情况下呢，大家发现会非常多一些技术的一些东西啊，可能这块的话不太方便去给大家去真正的去讲这些技术的一些理念，但是大家可以通过这些部分能够知道 ChainSafe 团队在做的一些事情。Okay, thank you guys so much for today. Yeah, sorry about that. We do have some network connection issue, but so far we are back to that. So later I will just inform our team, inform our community about the things that you guys have done. I will say that in Chinese to have a better introduction about you guys and your team. So I think that's great for today. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. And we will move on to the next session with Colin. Yeah, he had seen us a video. I think maybe around 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we will show that to our audience here. Okay, thank you guys so much. Okay, see you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Okay. 好的，OK， 那我们接下来的话呢，进入我们的下一个环节。那下一个环节的话呢，是主要围绕 ChainSafe 团队目前在做的一个叫 ChainSafe Files、ChainSafe 文件，对不对？这个文件具体是有什么一些效用，对吧？我们可以通过Colin 这边的一个video 给我们大家来进行展示，请大家稍作等待，我把我的这样一个视频的部分投到我们的这样一个屏幕上面去 ，OK。好的，大家稍等一下，我现在分享一下。OK， 其实大家关于ChainSafe 这个团队的话呢，我觉得可能在接下来我分享之前会多做一些了解。月月先帮我测试一下，现在是否可以听到我这边的一些声音
？It's a real privilege to speak after you, especially since I'll be talking.
可以对吧 ？OK， 对，那在Colin 这边分享之前呢，我们先针对整个 ChainSafe 刚才演示的一些东西也好，或者这些团队也好，再给大家多做一点解释哈，多做一点解释。对，那 ChainSafe 团队的话呢，他们创建了这样一个 ChainBridge， 对吧 ？ChainBridge 就是一个跨链桥，对吧？他们通过他们自己的团队和不同的一些生态项目进行一个桥接，打通不同的一些生态项目。对，比如说他们刚刚 Redwan 这边给大家演示的是关于他们桥接了这样一个 Falcon 以及Substrate 这样一个以及波卡这样一个生态的部分。对，他们也在做一些类似像 ChainSafe Files， 对吧？像接下来这个 Colin 这边会给我们讲述关于 ChainSafe Files 这个文件能不能存储的这样一个应用，它是具体是为用户提供了一个比较安全隐私，并且用户掌握所有的所有权的这样一个存储服务。那 在去年的话呢，其实他们为以太坊，对吧？ChainSafe团队为以太坊、为波卡还有 Falcon 等不同公链构建了这样一个开源软件和生态实现，还有开发工具。对，其实 ChainSafe 团队的话，他们围绕非募存储这条公链 Falcon 这边的话，他们也做了 ChainSafe Forest， 对吧？其实我们园区的话呢，也在围绕Falcon 的话做另外一个实现，就是我们称之为 Venus， 对吧？相信大家对这块的比较了解一些。那 ChainSafe 这边的话呢，除了有 Forest， 他们还有Gossamer 以及 Lodestar， 对吧？等等不同围绕不同链的这一些应用也好，或者是实现也好，他们确实推动了整个行业的一些更好的一些进展嘛，能够让大家知道整个区块链化并不是完全孤立的非常多的一些公链，对不对？但是有ChainSafe这样的团队的话，就可以实现不同的这样一个模块化的这种区块链的一些桥接，对，比如说像ChainBridge， 对吧？ChainBridge， 对吧？他们在兼容这样一个以太坊虚拟机和Substrate 方面进行了非常大的一个重构，然后真正的可以成为建立一个开源的定制化的这样一个可分叉的这样一个 Web3 的这样一个基础设施。OK， 那可以了。那 OK guys, so let's move on to the next session with Colin. Yeah, Colin will talk with you guys about the updates about ChainSafe files. So I will get it started with this video. OK， 好的，那我现在开始。
It's a real privilege to speak after you, especially since I'll be talking about some of the things that we've been building here at ChainSafe on top of those protocols that you helped to create. So really excited to hop into it. I guess a bit more about myself. Colin, I've been working at ChainSafe for about 3.5 years now. Started out doing more research and technical writing, but I quickly transitioned into project management. I was the manager of Lodestar for several years, as well as ChainBridge for a brief spell. But in the last 18 months, I've been focusing in more and more on product work, which has become more of an emphasis at ChainSafe in general, and specifically on the products that we're building in the distributed storage space, so ChainSafe Storage and ChainSafe Files.
Okay.
So my talk today is about accessible distributed storage and how ChainSafe is improving the foundations of the internet. And I know that that's sort of a bold statement, and it's intended to be. Part of what I want to do here today, before I jump into speaking about the products themselves, is sort of get everyone more excited about storage and our relationship to data. And I think that it's not as much of a hyped topic as some other things in our space, like NFTs or DeFi. But I think that it deserves even more attention than it's been getting. And that's for a number of reasons. Why should we care about storage? I mean, first of all, data storage and retrieval is completely foundational to the internet, and everything that we get excited about in the Web3 space is built on top of it in some way. And solid foundations create stable structures. I took that from an article that Phil wrote last month, actually.
嗨，伯里，可以听到我吗？伯里，他现在这个视频是画面在走，但是没有声音了。
OK， 不好意思，再重新走一下。
Obviously, there's a lot of differences between these two resources. What I'm trying to make here is that both are incredibly important to humanity over the last 100 years, and we can learn some lessons from how we've interacted with resources in the past and perhaps how we need to be interacting with resources in the future. So as we know, oil is one of the most important and sought after resources on the planet for at least the past 100 years. And in the last 10 or 20 years, data has been replacing it in terms of overall value and relevance to human society. Some obvious comparisons are that both data and oil have been monopolized by a small number of huge corporations. And in both cases, corporate greed has led to massive problems. Now with oil, these problems are abundantly apparent by this point. Obviously, climate change as a result of burning oil and other fossil fuels, air pollution for the same reasons, oil spills themselves are catastrophic events. So the greed and centralization of this resource has become manifest in a bunch of really obvious negative ways. With data, it's also being centralized in the hands of even fewer corporations at this point. And that also has had really negative consequences. They're just less apparent at this point. But yeah, the proliferation of fake news, things like the ChainBridge Analytica Facebook scandal are just a few examples. The fact that these social media companies are spying on everyone's information and then creating these algorithms that get you addicted to their platform. I mean, I could go on and on about this stuff. Most of it is things that many of you are probably already aware of. But I think that what I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't treat data in the same way that we've treated other really important resources in the past. And we have an opportunity now to take it back. Unlike oil, data production is actually distributed fairly evenly, both geographically and between individuals. It's really just the collection and the exploitation of that data and the storage of that data that has been really centralized, and it's that side of things that has led to all these negative outcomes. So we still have a chance to retake control of our relationship to digital data, how it's stored, how it's retrieved, how we interact with it. And some of the new technologies that we've been talking about throughout this conference will enable us to do just that. And I think that we can build a much better and more equitable foundation for the internet if we leverage some of this new technology to regain control of our data and our relationship to it. So blockchain and other peer-to-peer technologies can allow us to have a better relationship with data than our grandparents had with oil. And the monopolization of cloud storage is not a foregone conclusion. There is a better way. And that's what I'm going to talk about for the remainder of this presentation. So before I get into chatting about the products that we're building, I wanted to point out that there is actually this long history of peer-to-peer content distribution and data storage that dates back way before blockchain even existed. So you can see I have a timeline here that actually starts in 1969. And if you'll notice, Bitcoin is all the way over here on the right, 2009. So there's this rich history of people and organizations and technologies that have developed over the last several decades that have gotten us to where we are today and enabled some of the technologies and protocols that I'm going to talk about. So in order for you guys not to have to go and read all those tiny points on that timeline, I've broken up the history of peer-to-peer data storage into 4 epochs. And each of those epochs have characterized with a product that is indicative of it. Obviously, these are not the only products in those epochs. I just used them as an example. So the first epoch is characterized by things such as Napster, which was an early peer-to-peer storage and sharing platform. However, it did rely on a central server to coordinate lookups. So it was a step in the right direction, but there was definitely still some level of centralization going on there. The second epoch is characterized by programs like Limewire, which I'm sure many of you remember. This is when peer-to-peer data achieved some sort of large-scale adoption, and these technologies also eliminated that central index that I was talking about. So continuing the push towards real peer-to-peer data sharing. The third epoch is characterized by programs like BitTorrent, which offered direct peer-to-peer communications over a TCP port, and they eliminated the need for centralized trackers using distributed hash tables. So this got us, pretty far and close to where we are now today. And today we're in this fourth epoch. But what all 3 of these previous epochs lacked was an incentivization system. And so, if participants in the network were either doing so out of the goodness of their heart, or they were charging money, which sort of reintroduced an aspect of centralization. And so it wasn't until we have blockchain technology that we could actually introduce this trustless incentive layer for peer-to-peer storage. And that's exactly what Filecoin does. It's leveraging blockchain to incentivize the miners to store data and to serve that data. And it's incredibly powerful as a result of that. And it sort of guarantees that there's this correct incentive model that we know that we can rely on this storage actually being distributed and decentralized. And furthermore, something else that Falcon brings to the table, which has never happened before in this whole history, is that it brings verifiable storage. So we can actually cryptographically verify that through proof of space-time that a miner has the storage space they say they do. And not only did that not exist for previous iterations of this sort of technology, it also doesn't exist for client server models. And so the entire cloud doesn't have this, right? If you use Google or Amazon, you just have to trust that they have that storage. And with Filecoin, you don't have to trust you can verify. So that's my little history lesson. And the next step here is to chat about how we at ChainSafe became involved in this whole space. So basically, since the beginning of ChainSafe, we've been huge fans of Protocol Labs and of IPFS. And we've used IPFS in a number of ways for several different products over the years. And so we were very excited by the announcement of Filecoin, and then, of course, by the impending Filecoin launch last year. And we were really honored and privileged when we received a grant from Protocol Labs to build an alternate implementation of the Filecoin blockchain written in Rust called Forest. So we were really, by that time, we had become deeply invested in the ecosystem. And that also coincided with when we started to build out more of our in-house products at ChainSafe. And one of our big product philosophies here is that we think we need to make Web3 technology as easy to use as Web2 tech is currently. And so when we have these new protocols, they're incredibly powerful and exciting, but without the correct tooling and products on top of them, they can be really hard to access for everyday people. And so we thought that in order to contribute further to this incredible ecosystem, we should create products that gave people easier access to it. And so that's how ChainSafe Storage and ChainSafe Files were born. ChainSafe Storage makes Filecoin and IPFS really easy to use and to interact with for developers. And ChainSafe Files does the same, but for everyday normal users. So before I hop into more details about the products, I just want to give a huge shout out to the team behind them. I'm not going to go through and introduce every single person, but I just want to say that it's an incredible privilege to work with these individuals on a daily basis. They're all incredible. I couldn't imagine a better group of people to work with. And it's thanks to them that we are where we are now. So I just wanted to take a second to acknowledge that. All right, so files and storage. They're two separate products, but they both exist within the distributed file storage vertical. And they do provide similar functionality, but for different consumer preferences. So on the one hand, we have storage, which is essentially a set of exposed APIs. It's considered a developer tool, as well as a pinning service. And then on the other hand, we have files, which is an end user consumer grade product. Some more differences. Storage is a little more flexible because of its status as a developer tool, whereas files is more usable. I do want to point out here that storage is actually very easy to use for anyone with even a rudimentary knowledge of software development. It is very accessible for that group of people. It's just that files is accessible for your grandmother. Anyone can use it whatsoever. Obviously, storage requires a bit more technical knowledge, whereas files is fully accessible to anyone with a computer or a smartphone. And then a really important distinction to also point out is that ChainSafe Storage, everything that is uploaded to it is intended for public consumption. And that's by design. We want people to be able to plug into this product and to use it as a storage layer for basically any use case that they can think of. And on the other hand, ChainSafe Files is built with privacy and security top of mind. So anything uploaded to files will not be publicly available. And I'll get into that in a bit. So just to clear up any remaining confusion, here's a quick diagram that explains how all the products sort of relate to one another and to the underlying infrastructure. So at the protocol level, we connect to IPFS and to Filecoin with both products. We use IPFS for hot storage. We use Filecoin for archival storage. Because currently Filecoin miners only accept a certain minimum size of deals, when we get some smaller files uploaded through either tool, they get batched on IPFS, bundled up, and then periodically sent over to Filecoin for extra backup and distribution and redundancy. So then at the infrastructure level, we have our ChainSafe storage APIs. And those are exposed when you go to the ChainSafe storage website. You can get API keys to access that infrastructure. And then you can also use our pinning service. And then ChainSafe Files also routes all of its traffic through the ChainSafe storage APIs, but it has a comprehensive front end, and it's a end user file storage solution. So there's the site if you want to go check out storage for yourself. Like I said, it's basically a set of exposed APIs plus a pinning service. You can see in the screenshot here, we have two different API keys that you can generate with storage. The first is our standard storage APIs, and then the second are S3 compatible APIs. And I think that this one is especially exciting because it means that you can change a single value, and then you can switch over from any sort of S3 compatible storage layer that you were using and automatically plug in ChainSafe storage as your storage layer. And we've had people do this many times. They've raved about how easy it was. And so this is a huge functionality that will enable us to get more traffic from Web 2 and just making it really easy for developers to switch over to distributed storage is one of the best ways that we can onboard more Web 2 folks into this new and exciting ecosystem. So I got a few use cases here just to further illustrate my point. This is obviously not an exhaustive list, but number one, NFTs, off-chain data and metadata has been a huge use case for IPFS and for Filecoin, and ChainSafe storage is no exception. We have a bunch of projects that are using storage for that. Also, video game libraries and assets that are not NFT related can also be stored on ChainSafe storage. And then if you do have a game that has in-game NFTs, having all of that in the same place and in a distributed context can be really powerful. Any decentralized application that needs storage can plug in without any problems. And then 4, this is a huge one, and this is what I was talking about earlier, any other applications that need to store persistent data in a decentralized manner, especially those that are S3 compatible, which is a huge percentage of what's out there, can literally change a single value, and all of a sudden they have a distributed storage layer. So ChainSafe Files, also encourage you to go check it out. There's the link. This is our landing page. We're offering encrypted file storage, and we have sharing, which is our latest big feature release. So first and foremost, ChainSafe Files offers high security and high privacy. And so anything that is uploaded to ChainSafe Files is end-to-end encrypted, in transit, and at rest. And that means that not only can ChainSafe not see any of your files, which is obviously the opposite of all of these Web 2 storage solutions where the companies have access to everything and they use and exploit that data as they please. But once your files are uploaded to IPFS and Filecoin, which are public networks, they will also be encrypted there, and so nobody can see them in that context either. So furthermore, to build on this whole privacy value proposition, the user's account credentials are actually stored on their own devices, not on our servers. So we don't have access to that either. And we've enabled a Web3 login, which means that you can actually log in with your Ethereum wallet. So when I use files, I log in with my MetaMask, and I don't actually need to provide an email or a phone number or any other personal identifying information such as that if I don't want to. And then when we launch billing early next year, we will, of course, be accepting a variety of cryptos. And so that means that for the most privacy-concerned user, you can log in with your anonymous Web3 identity, you can pay with crypto, and you can rest assured that everything you upload will be private from us and from everyone else on the internet. Another big aspect of ChainSafe Files is data ownership. And this is going back to the beginning of my talk where I was saying we need to take back data. We need to regain control of the data that we produce, the data that we store, and reimagine our relationship to how we interact with online data in general. And I think I can speak for a lot of us by saying I don't think the right move is to wait for government regulators to step in here. When we have the power to create our own products that actually allow users to regain control of their data. And so that's exactly what ChainSafe Files does. By leveraging IPFS and Filecoin, you can return data ownership to the user. And we've actually built a CLI tool that enables users to access their content independently of our product. So basically, sometimes people ask, it's great that you're using these decentralized networks, but by creating this portal, this service to access them, are you not reimposing some level of centralization? And the answer to that question is no, because using this CLI tool, which is available on our GitHub and is of course open source, you can actually access everything that you've uploaded to IPFS and Filecoin without using ChainSafe files. So if we were to be censored in your country, if we were to go down for whatever reason, if we were to be taken down, if you just don't want to use us anymore, as long as you keep your CIDs, your content identifiers for everything that you've uploaded, you can use this tool to really easily download everything, even without us. And so that really closes this decentralization loop that we want to create. And it really means that we have returned ownership of a user's data to them in the truest sense. And then, of course, finally, ChainSafe Files is super user-friendly. This goes back to what I was saying about our product philosophy. If we want to achieve mass adoption for Web3, we need to make it as easy as humanly possible. So we've created this with that top of mind. We have a familiar and easy-to-use UI. All the Filecoin deals are automated behind the scenes. All the IPFS pinning is automated. From the user's perspective, you can just one-click upload, download, share, drag and drop upload, and all of that without sacrificing on your privacy or giving up any sort of ownership of your data. And we did all this because we believe your digital home should be like your physical one. Peaceful, private, and all yours. So before I leave you, I'm sure people will be curious about what's next for these products. Billing is definitely our next big release. We will be very shortly accepting payments, first for files, then for storage. Like I said, we will have a credit card option, but certainly crypto as well. Optimizations are ongoing at both product levels. That's going to continue into 2022. Something that I'm personally really excited about is developing further synergies with other products at ChainSafe. We're just starting to have this rich suite of products that we can offer, and I know that there will definitely be a lot more room for collaboration between those products, and I'm really excited to see where that leads us. For ChainSafe Files, we also have a Teams feature that we're planning, which will enable enhanced collaboration between users. And then for ChainSafe Storage, we're looking into a lot of additional tooling to make the developer experience even easier. And of course, so much more coming in 2022. This is the we're hiring slide. I know I'm the last talk of the day, so I'll plug it one more time. I can just say that personally, working at ChainSafe is absolutely the best thing that's happened for my career and me personally. Just getting to work with such incredible individuals every single day, getting to travel, getting to meet so many smart and like-minded people in this industry is just truly amazing. So that sounds like something that you're interested in. Head over to chainsafe.io/careers. If you want to get in touch, if you have more questions about the products you'd like to talk offline, you can check me out on Twitter or Discord. I've also linked our open source GitHub repo where you can find all of the code for the ChainSafe Files front end, in case you're interested in looking at that. And yeah, thank you so much.
Great, yeah, thank you so much, Colin. Colin 这边的话呢，跟我们围绕整个的这样一个 ChainSafe Files 做了很多这样一个解说大家都可以听到他在里面围绕整个 ChainSafe Files 这边的强调重点。首先就是一定要使用了IPFS 和 Falcon 这样一个部分，能够让数据的这样一个隐私和安全性最大程度上去得到这样一个保障。另外的话呢，他也提到了整个他们 ChainSafe 团队是如何从一开始，对吧？ 讲到数据的这样一个安全性、数据的这样一个衍生性，以及和石油这块做了一个对比，对吧？大家都知道石油的开采资源的话，都掌握在少数的几家这样一个巨头当中。现在的 Web2 世界也是这样的，对吧？我们的很多数据的话都是在平台方那边，那如何让用户更好的去掌控这些数据呢？所以 CHAINSAFE 团队联合使用的 RPFS 和 Falcon 的技术，然后生产出来这样一款产品叫 CHAINSAFE Files。大家可以看到。
非常抱歉，直播间的朋友们，我们这边网断了一下，请大家再稍等一下啊。 不好意思啊，直播间的朋友们，请再耐心等待一下。嘿，波迪，可以听到我吗
有
？OK，好了，那请你
可以听到。
从刚才视频结束再重新讲一遍吧，不好意思。
OK， 好的，抱歉各位啊，刚才今天的网络好像不是很流畅。OK，那再给大家讲一下刚才 Colin 主要讲的几个部分啊。当然整个视频的话，我们是加了中文字幕的，方便大家去理解这样一个部分。那其实大家可以了解到ChainSafe这家团队目前在做一些事情，对吧？他们针对不同链做桥接，然后目前也针对RPFS 和 Falcon 网络，对吧？他们做了一款叫 ChainSafe Files 这样一个ChainSafe 文件，对吧？ChainSafe 文件的这样一款产品。那这款产品的话呢，主要是面向很多的一些用户来进行安全隐私数据的这样一个存储，对，并且他也提到，就是就算亲属团队不在的话，你只要拥有 CID， 对吧？依然可以去访问和下载你的这些数据，不会担心它会因为可能某个团队不在，或者是某个服务器有问题，然后就这些数据就找寻不到了或怎样。所以这块的话，对我们很多人拥有了一个数据这样一个隐私或者是数据所有权的这样一个恐慌感，就可以打消掉了。对，其实 Colin 在这边主要讲的一个部分的话，关于更多的是在于那个类似数据的一个部分。他提到数据这样一个部分的话，其实很多情况下类似于现在的这样一个石油的这样一个处境，掌控在大多数的掌控在为数不多的几家巨头当中去。数据的话也是一样，在整个 Web2 世界当中的话，可能掌控在 Facebook， 对吧 ？Google 或者是Amazon 这边，对吧？这些 Web2 的这些互联网大厂手中。那真正的用户的数据所有权的话呢，其实并不是为个人所掌控的。这也是为什么我们一直在讲说，这也是为什么我们要有 Web3.0先行者这样一个活动，包括为什么有那么多团队像 ChainSafe 一样，一直在帮我们一起去断章下一代互联网的这些应用场景。尤其是一个就是在数据存储层面。那 ChainSafe 这款产品的话呢，其实大家可以看到它的用户界面的话是非常友好的，对吧？然后另外的话呢，用户可以直接去运用它去简单操作就可以去进行存储了，也不需要管它后面的这些数据存在哪儿，存在 RPFS 网络或者 Falcon 网络里面所进行的一些验证啊，或者是交互的这些流程都不要去考虑这些部分，只是需要直接把数据存到这样一个文件里面进行存储和访问就可以了，对。然后这边的话呢，最主要一个叫这个 data ownership 这边的话，就是所有数据的掌控权肯定是在你的个人手中的，你也不用担心因为这个团队或者是文件不在， 就这个产品不在，会担心自己的数据找寻不到。OK， 好的，那就是今天的话呢，就是我们的这样一个ChainSafe 这样一个活动。那 ChainSafe 团队的话呢，接下来也会就是正如 Redwan 和 Matthias 这边所提到的一样，他们会近期在接下来1年的话，会围绕不同链做更好的一些桥接的一些工作，正式能够打通不同的区块链之间的一些协作，让更多的人可以和我们一样，对吧？能够加快加速下一代互联网的这样一个到来。OK， 那今天我们的活动的话就先到这里，欢迎大家继续关注我们的这样一个不同的这些链路一些平台，了解原理区的更多的一些动态。那我们在下一期活动当中的话，会带来一个 Dfinity 上面的一个叫 CCC 的一款项目啊，他们是一个 NFT 的项目，然后他们也是非常非常火爆，对吧？他们的僵尸卖的非常火一些 NFT 项目。那我们也是给到我们的用户一些非常多的一些权益，对你参加我们的这样一个直播活动的话，在下周二你就有机会获取到空投。 OK， 可以啊，欢迎大家可以在下周二的这样一个7点时间我们准时相见到时候也希望我们的网络不会像今天这样出现问题。 OK, thank you guys so much for today. Yeah, sorry about the network issue. Yeah, we do have to bear with that, right? Yeah, that is a progress we have to face. Yeah, there's some obstacles we have to face together, right? So that's why we can move from Web 2 to Web 3. And thanks a lot for ChainSafe team. Yeah, we do learn a lot from them about the ChainBridge, about ChainSafe files, this kind of products that will make data more secure and privacy. Okay, so for next week we have invited CCC you will win the chance to have the airdrop. Okay, airdrop with their popular Zoom base. Okay, so stay tuned for our event next Tuesday at 7 p.m. and look forward to that. Okay, see you guys. Bye bye.